Welcome to the first ever new releases video of the Sloatsburg Public Library YouTube channel, and we are going to be discussing all the new release DVDs that we have at the library this month. Starting out with John Wick Chapter 4, starring Keanu Reeves, and a little bit of a description of the movie is that John Wick takes the fight against the high table globally as he seeks out the most powerful players in the underworld from New York to Paris to Japan to Berlin. This movie is amazing, and if you're a fan of a John Wick franchise, you're definitely going to love this one. Moving on to 65, starring Adam Driver. After a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, pilot Mills quickly discovers he's stranded on Earth 65 million years ago. Now, with one chance at a rescue, Mills and the only other survivor, Koa, must make their way across an unknown terrain riddled with dangerous prehistoric creatures. So we got like dinosaurs in this movie, and it's gonna be a fun time when you're watching this. Next up, we have Dungeons and Dragons, starring Chris Pine. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a long-lost relic, but their charming adventure goes dangerously wrong when they run afoul of the wrong people. Now, if you're a fan of D&D, this movie is right up your alley, and there's a lot of good references to D&D in here, and you're just gonna love this if you're a huge fan of that. Next up, we have Shazam! Fury of Gods, a sequel to the 2019 movie Shazam. This also stars Zachary Levi, and this movie is about Billy Baston and his fellow foster kids are still learning how to juggle teenage lives with their superhero alter egos when a vengeful trio of ancient gods arrive on Earth in search of the magic stolen from them a long time ago. Shazam and his allies have to get ready for battle for their superpowers, their lives, and the fate of their world. Next up, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, starring Paul Rudd. Now, this is the first Marvel movie on here, and this is the sequel to Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And the description of this movie goes, Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, embarking on an adventure that pushes them beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. Now, this movie here is the first movie in Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is a great kickoff, and I think you all enjoy it if you're a fan of Ant-Man in general. Next up, we have our first TV show on here called Tulsa King, starring Sylvester Stallone. His first ever TV series, and honestly, apparently it's pretty good too. I haven't yet to see it myself, but I've heard nothing but great things about this show here. But a New York Mafia capo, Dwight the General Manfredi, is released from prison after 25 years and exiled by his boss to set up shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Realizing that his mob family may not have his best interest in mind, Dwight slowly builds a new crew, and he's also slowly adjusting to the new world and how things are working nowadays. Next up, we have Creed 3, starring Michael B. Jordan. Still dominating the boxing world, Adonis Creed is thriving in his career and family life when Damien, a childhood friend and former boxing prodigy, resurfaces after serving time in prison. He's eager to prove that he deserves his shot in the ring. The face-off between former friends is more than just a fight. To settle the score, Adonis must put his future on the line to battle Damien, a fighter who has nothing to lose. Next up, we have the next installment in the Evil Dead series, Evil Dead Rise, starring Alyssa Sutherland. A reunion between two estranged sisters get cut short by the rise of the flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of the family imaginable. This movie is rated R, by the way, so this may not be suitable for younger audiences, but if you're a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, this is the movie I highly recommend. Next up, we have Avatar: Way of Water. Finally, the Avatar sequel that we've all been waiting for forever now. And this one's about Jake Sully and his family are doing everything they can to stay together. However, they must leave their home and explore regions of Pandora when an ancient threat resurfaces. Jake must fight for a difficult war against the humans and to save his family. I do think this is a worthy sequel of the 2009 Avatar movie, and just the visuals, everything is amazing. I highly recommend this. Next up, we have Operation Fortune, starring Jason Statham, elite spy Orson Fortune must track down and stop the sale of a deadly new weapon technology wielded by billionaire arms broker Greg Simmons. Reluctantly teamed up with some of the world's best operatives, Fortune and his crew recruit Hollywood's biggest movie star Danny Francisco to help them on their global trotting mission to save the world. Next up we have Maybe I Do starring Emma Roberts. With their relationship at a crossroads, Michelle and Alan invite their parents to finally meet. As it turns out, their parents already know each other, maybe a little too well. A little plot twist right there. Why do they know each other too well? Well, don't know. You gotta watch the movie to find out. Next up, we have Marlowe, starring Liam Neeson. Detective Philip Marlowe becomes embroiled in an investigation with a wealthy family in Bay City, California, after a beautiful blonde hires him to find her former lover. Next up, we have The Quiet Girl, starring Carrie Crowley. A 9-year-old from a dysfunctional family goes to live with a distant relative for the summer. Living in a middle-aged farm couple, she discovers a new way of living. Next up, we have another TV series, Tom Jones Season 1, a reimagining of Henry Fielding's The History of Tom Jones, a foundling, and a tale of an illegitimate young man's love for a heiress. Next up, we have Moving On, starring Jane Fonda. Two estranged women reunite to seek revenge against the husband of their recently deceased best friend. Along the way, they learn to make peace with the past and each other. Next up, we have 80 for Brady. Brady being Tom Brady, and starring Sally Field, Jane Fonda, and of course, Tom Brady. Four best friends live life to the fullest when they embark on a wild road trip to see their hero Tom Brady play in the 2017 Super Bowl. Next up, we have Champion, starring Woody Harrelson. A former minor league basketball coach receives a court order to manage a team of players with disabilities. Despite his doubts, he soon realizes together they can go further than they can ever imagine. Next up, we have Fall. Now, quick warning, if you are not a fan of heights, this is not the movie for you guys. But this movie stars Grace Caroline. She was also from Shazam, and Jeffrey D. Morgan, and Virginia Gardner. For best friends Becky and Hunter, life is all about conquering fears and pushing the limits. However, after they climb 2,000 feet to the top of a remote abandoned radio tower, they find themselves stranded with no way down. Now, their expert climbing skills are put to the ultimate test as they desperately fight to survive the elements and lack of supplies and a vertigo-inducing heights. Again, if you guys are not a fan of heights, this is definitely not the movie for you guys. Next up, we have Renfield, starring Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. Two Nicholases. Renfield, the tortured aide of narcissistic boss Dracula, is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding. However, after centuries of doing that, he's ready to see if there's life outside the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. Next, we have Upgrades, starring Logan Marshall Green. A brooding mugging leaves Gray Trace paralyzed in the hospital and his beloved wife dead. A billionaire inventor soon offers Trace a cure, an artificial intelligent implant called STEM that will enhance his body. Now able to walk, Gray finds he also has superhuman strength and agility, skills he uses to seek revenge against the thugs who destroyed his life. And next up, we have for the kids here, we got the Super Mario movie starring Chris Pratt. With the help of Princess Peach, Mario gets ready to square off against the all-powerful Bowser to stop his plans from conquering the world. And then finally, again for the kids, Paw Patrol Aquapups. The Paw Patrol returns to a magical underwater city of Poplantis when an unhappy Meerpup named Moby tries to float Poplantis to the surface. It's up to Paw Patrol and Sky's cousin Coral to stop him and save the city. Next, the pups participate in a big mirror race and must come to the rescue when Moby's cheating threatens Poplantis. Then Moby swipes the whale patroller, and with the help of sea creatures, the pup chase it down. Plus so much more underwater adventure. Now, if you guys want to take out any of these movies, come to the Sloatsburg Public Library, or you can order them on our website at sloatsburgpubliclibrary.org. And yeah, we hope to see you guys at the library very soon.